Hey guys, I'm back and I am talking about the 14th Amendment again. Why? Because DACA is on the books and it's coming up, and they are trying to usurp our birthright. That's right. Now, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she will be the one that we really need to watch because she's very persuasive and she's already kind of given a clue of what she's going to be using to argue for DACA recipients, and that is due process of law and the Equal Protection Clause. Okay, so let me tell you why I want to focus on Ginsburg, Justice Ginsburg. She did a Q&A last year with a group of high school students. The Q&A was pretty much around the 14th Amendment, but they did touch on the 13th and the 15th. So they talked about the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th, but it was strictly around the 14th Amendment more so. So everything was great during the beginning. They had the Q&A. They came to a consensus, her and her audience, that the 13th, 14th, and the 15th Amendment were in fact written for newly freed slaves, ADOS, American blacks, right? After that, what she did was a little upsetting. Not upsetting, but I just didn't like the fact that she talked about the Constitution as if it was a transcending piece or like a chameleon, like it can just morph into whatever it needs to be at the time. But if you know anything about law, you know the language is very important from word to word. Each word is important. And we also know that when the times change, laws have changed. We have seen different laws change where once it was okay for a group of people to congregate on a corner socially and talk to each other, and now it is illegal. It is called trespassing. So we know that laws do change. Now, the Constitution is different because they have to make amendments, but we've seen amendments made. But the 14th Amendment um, that gave our ancestors and gave us citizenship was written strictly for us. And what she said was, okay, it was written for black people, and then she moved it from being from for us to, okay, now it's not for them anymore. Now it's for women's suffrage. Okay? And I do want to say that yes, the what is that? The American Women's Association, I think it's the National Women's Association, they did usurp what was supposed to be for us, ended up kind of going to them through affirmative action or whatever, voting rights, whatever. They ended up getting the better end of the deal. But had it not been for their movements, the two names, the groups that I just named, the National Women's Association and the Women's movement, association, or whatever. Excuse me if I got them wrong. You can look it up for yourself. But had it not been for those two movements, and had women just been okay with the treatment and stayed silent and not want to enter the workplace, not want to own businesses, not want to be a part of society, then who knows where we would be today. I might not be talking to you right now. So you have to accredit the movements with getting that change for women. You don't just go to the 14th Amendment and say, well, the 14th Amendment is what gave these women's rights. No, it was their movement, their protesting, what they were asking for, and, their advocacy is basically what got them what they wanted. Did they usurp us? Yes. But that's not the point. But moving from there, she didn't talk about illegal immigrants, but we know that that's where she's going to go because she transcended it. She just told you that the 14th Amendment was for black people, but no, it's not. After it was for them, now it's for women's rights. And what she's gonna do? Say, okay, well now, this is for the 14th Amendment is for illegal immigrants, and she's gonna use the due process and equal protection clause. Let's just go the due process clause, right? We've heard this 1,000 times, and it's just the all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States, right? That's the due process clause. All persons born. Now, just because you were born here, she's saying that makes you a citizen. But we could debunk that right here, or not even debunk it. What I will tell you is that if you go to Africa, if you're American parents, I'm American, my man's American, we go to Africa, have a baby, guess what? My baby is an American citizen. My baby may have been born in Africa, but my baby is an American citizen. Anywhere an American goes, unless they have signed over their citizenship, like ended their citizenship here in America. If you go to any country and you're pregnant and you have a baby, your baby is an American. So I don't understand how they are gonna flip it here in America and say, okay, anybody who comes here and has a baby is under our jurisdiction, and you're now a citizen. That makes absolutely no sense. You have to know that there are limits on that. If that's the case, everybody just come have a baby. You American. That makes no sense, and that's not what the Constitution stood for. We wouldn't need a Constitution if that was the case. Everybody could just kind of do what they wanted to do. The Constitution was to set up laws and statutes for you to abide by. Okay, not for you to interpret the law the way you want to. Now, the wording has not changed in years, but they want to make it something else. And if that's the case, then they know that Congress has to go back and do an amendment. They have to go back and create an amendment to change, to change that. Now, I think it's called something else, but I forget. But moving along, she's also going to try to use the equal protection clause. Equal protection clause. She will try to use that. And the loophole, the one little loophole in it that she will try to use is to say that the United States of America is racist, that our president is racist towards immigrants. That's a very important fact, because that's the only way they can overturn the 14th Amendment, by saying, or not overturn it, by they'll be able to include the illegal immigrants by saying that the president is using racism to discriminate against them to keep them out of the country. Okay? And that we know that that's not true. We've all been affected by illegal immigration. Now, I don't know about you. I live in New York. You could go to your local areas, and I'm talking about black people. You go in your local areas and say you have a teenage son or you have a teenage daughter, and they need a little job. A little part-time job. You have a little money in their pocket, and you don't really want them to go too far. Take them to your local supermarkets in the Bronx and see if your black child gonna get a job. Not stocking shelves, nor will they get a job as a cashier. And it's a reason for that. And a lot of these supermarkets, they hire illegal immigrants to do all of the stocking of the shelves and all that. A lot of them hire them to do that. Now the cashiers, they discriminate, and this is so funny, because the same type of discrimination that they are trying to suggest that the president is doing, they in fact use that discrimination against black people, because none of these people who come here and build businesses hire you. But you know what the kicker is to that? The 14th Amendment kind of like protects them as a minority status. That's why we got to move away from all of that. If you're under a minority status, I can't sue you for discrimination because you're a minority like me. So they have open will to discriminate against us, and they do. They never hire us. It's a fact. They will never hire. I seen a guy beg to sweep up a floor for a few dollars. He was basically begging, like, come on, man, I live right here. I could sweep this and do that. Like, he basically begged them to sweep their floors. And I just felt terrible like that, because I'm like, here this man is. He's an American black man, regardless to how people feel about him or how he look and all of that stuff. He's an American. He shouldn't have to beg somebody to sweep their floor. You know what I'm saying? He shouldn't have to do that. We shouldn't have to go through that. But that is the ADOS life. You begging somebody to sweep their floors. That's the ADOS life. But that's the kicker. Yep, they can discriminate against you, but you can't discriminate against them. But at the end of the day, that's why you hear all this racism. Trump is a racist, Trump is a racist, because this is what they are going to try to use to give people under illegal status in America, here illegally. They're going to try to give them rights and give them a pathway to citizenship through these clauses here, the due process of law and the equal protection clause. Now, there's nothing racist about the overpopulation of states, the overpopulation of schools, the overpopulation or the overusage of certain resources. There's nothing racist about that, and I think we've pointed that out. We've also seen ICE extract illegals off of at least about 5,000 jobs, and that's just in the South. If they come to New York, people will have their hands over their mouths because you do not realize how many people in New York are here illegally and working on these jobs. And you fill out these applications and you wonder why nobody ever calls you or gets back to you. It's because they found a way to replace you with a more cheaper staff. Okay? We've seen this. It works against us. Black people are at the bottom. We need those jobs. We need every job we can get. Okay? Because the rest of the world isn't as welcoming to us. So we don't need to compete in our own spaces for jobs that we ultimately have the right to and should be first picked to. A lot of these scholarships are going to other people. They're not going to ADOS. They're not going to Black Americans. They're going to other people from different places that aren't us. But they are saying it's African American and pointing at us saying, oh, look, the African American, oh, you got a scholarship, and it's not really us, our group, our particular group. So all of these reasons are why we have to fight for our birthright. And it's insane to me that black people don't understand that crap. They don't understand it at all. I had a young lady, right? A lot of people, I guess I've rubbed them the wrong way. I don't really care. As you can tell, I really don't care, right? But she said, just because you got balls, that doesn't mean that people gonna automatically rock with you, and that's referring to the YouTube thing. And I said to myself, like, girl, my channel is not about rocking with me, okay? It's about making us a rock, not rocking with me. I'm not looking for any type of celebrity fame. And that's the problem with us. Like, people think automatically because you're on YouTube that you're trying to be some type of celebrity. And if you observe my channel, she really took the time to really comb through my channel, she would see that half the time I don't even show my face. The most of the time I have an image, or I'll edit it up and I'll show you pictures, or I'll show you documents as I go along, because I want you to focus on the information, not my face, not my personality. If I was on here for you to rock with me, I'd be like, hey, and you can follow me at Twitter, and you can follow me on here, _ such and such, and here's my this. That's how I would present myself, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with being a personality. I'm just saying I'm not one. So don't goddamn confuse me with that. I'm here trying to convince some of these black people on here to have conversations about something other than celebrity gossip, than a whole bunch of nonsense, than twerking contests and all this stuff, when we have real things attacking us. This is our birthright. And a lot of people don't give a damn that, wow, this is our birthright and people are stealing it from you. You're so busy wanting to share and give yourself to everything. You've given yourself to the LGBTQ. They have surpassed you now. You've given yourself to every goddamn cause, and everybody has surpassed you. But if you tell a black person, listen, you got to sit down and focus on your group, that's the hardest thing for them to do. So I'm going to get ready to end this, but this is what I'm going to tell you to do. If you are one of these black people who you love everything and this is not right, we can't have the illegals be held accountable for what they've done. We can't have Hillary Clinton be held accountable. Joe Biden's son doesn't have to be held accountable. Liberals don't have to be held accountable, and we got to help everybody. If you work 40 hours a week, you know what I want you to do? I don't want you to pay any of your bills. You don't pay one damn bill. When you get your check, I want you to cash it and you go out into the street. And every person you see that you feel that black people should help, you give them your check. And that's if you get paid weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, every time you get paid, you completely neglect yourself, your family, and everyone else. And you go out there in those streets and you give away every damn dollar you have. And when you get fired and you're starving, you don't have anything else and you got clothes, you open up your closet, go out there and give all that away. If you have anything left in the bank, whatever's in there, I want you to go out there in the streets, and anybody who needs, I want you to give that away. And when you're done and you're sitting there butt naked, cold, with nothing at all, then I want you to tell me how important it is to give everybody everything that you have. Tell me how valuable that is. Tell me how wonderful you feel when you're outside and it's 20 degrees and freezing, starving, and your family is out there. Because that's where you're headed. My name is Ray Ray. I like to spread awareness through conversation in hopes that it sparks change. And I'm out.